What's up, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Happiest Hour on Earth. I'm your host, Emily.
And I'm your other host, Chris.
And we are so excited that you are joining us. We are officially back from our Disneyland trip.
Yeah.
It's been a couple days since we returned. We're definitely feeling the post-Disney sadness that always hits. I'm sure you all know the exact feeling that
totally.
we're going through.
It never is not there after a trip, for sure.
Yeah, it hits every single one of us, I think, after a trip. So that's where we're at right now. But we're very excited to give you guys the overview of our trip because it was one of the most exciting trips I think we've ever had. We had some new experiences that we cannot wait to talk about with you guys. It was a very, very exciting trip. Very different kind of trip for us.
Yeah.
First off, it was our first trip with our newest addition, our little 8-month-old son. So it was our first time going with both boys, which was all kinds of new adventures.
Yeah, for sure. And we took our first one when he was already over 1 year old.
Yeah.
And so taking an 8-month-old was
different.
Very different. Yeah.
Very different.
But it was a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be.
We had help. Yeah. His family was there with us the majority of the time. So that helped a lot.
For sure.
There was some very, very fun special moments, some harder moments, just kind of everything you could imagine. But so fun overall, and lots of other fun experiences as well. We were able to check something off of our bucket list that if you have heard our show before, you know, we've been dying to go to Club 33, and that has officially happened.
Yeah, I know. I can't even believe it.
It's like crazy to even say.
It was one thing on our bucket list that it was just on there and I didn't know if it was going to ever get checked off. Yeah. Plus, like, another thing was like, we wanted to go to Club 33 before we're 33. Yeah. We're both turning 31 this year. And so we beat beat
it by a couple of years.
We never thought that this was going to be a possibility. And thanks to, such a nice guy and family who was able to take us in, and we'll talk about it in just a little bit. But
yes, we'll dive a little bit deeper. Soon enough.
So exciting. But before we officially start this show, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that like button. We are almost to 800 subs. Super exciting. So let's get there. I think we're about 9 away. That would be so helpful and so amazing. If you're listening on a podcasting platform, go ahead and click the follow button, the 5 stars, all that good stuff. That really means so much to us. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into this episode.
Let's do it.
All right, so as Emily said, we got to do a lot of new things this trip, which, coming from big Disney fans that go to Disneyland multiple times, like 2 times a year, we've done pretty much everything at Disneyland except for 3 things that were included in this trip. But so we're going to be talking about those in just a little bit. First, we're going to start with a review from the hotel that we stayed at. And then we're going to kind of go through our Friday through Sunday trip. Mm-hmm. And Saturday and Sunday were those days. So you'll get to hear about those in a little bit. And then at the end, we'll talk a little bit more about, what it was like bringing 2 kids, but we also have some episodes about taking kids to the park. So you definitely find those on our page if you want some more details on that. But let's start first with Hotel Lulu, where we stayed, and we had such an amazing trip. They actually hosted us for 2 nights, and it was so great. We loved our stay there.
Yeah, it was amazing. It's such a cute hotel. If you've never seen it, it's across from Portofino. If you've seen where that hotel is, it's about a 10 to 15 minute walk to the entrance of Disneyland, which is not bad. It's really definitely, it's like maybe a couple blocks from the entrance, which is really nice, but it is the cutest hotel. I think it's relatively new. I don't have like a ton of research done on it, but I know it didn't used to be there. Like back when we first started going, it's definitely more recent than that. And it is just the cutest retro style, like mid-century modern type of hotel.
Which is really fun because it really kind of evokes Disneyland back in the 50s.
Yes.
There's really cool
cool
posters on the wall that are Disney. There's like the wallpaper when you first walk in.
Yeah.
It's just really cool. And then when you check in, which was just so amazing, you check in and right away you get a complimentary cocktail, which is like, I think it's some sort of gin something, but it was like blue, like if you're over 21.
They have the ages, I'm assuming, of like whoever's checking in.
For sure. But it was blue, like their logo. So it's just like a really fun way to like enter into your room, into your stay at Hotel Lulu. But it was great. The rooms, when you go up, very spacious. We had a like a 2 queen bed. And so we had us 2 and our 2 kids. And one of our kids was in a pack and play, and it was a 4 moms pack and play. So they're a little bit bigger, and it fit like next to the desk that was in there.
Yeah, it was
and
like
the window.
between the desk and the window was like the perfect amount of space for our pack and play, which was awesome.
And in addition to our pack and play, we also had our stroller that was like fully out. We never actually collapsed it, and we had room to move around and everything. So super cute rooms, as well as like another like retro chair in there, which I never sit in those chairs. I was just in, but it's cool to have as an accent.
I ended up placing a lot of our items on it, like for our baby or for myself. It was just like an extra placeholder.
Yeah. It was great. And then the beds too, so comfy. I had a great night of sleep every single night.
Me too.
We were there. Really
and
nice.
that is saying something, because we had a 3-year-old and a 8-month-old in the room with us, and
they slept so well. I was so nervous that they're going to be screaming.
Yes,
stuff, but it was great.
It was our first time, like all 4 of us sleeping in the same room together since we had our littlest one, and we were so nervous going into it that it was just going to be like everyone's going to wake each other up all night. Like it's just going to be chaos. But I think they were both so tired every night that they both just like knocked out.
Yeah, it was so nice. And then the bathroom was really nice as well. A huge mirror with like a light behind it. So it was great for getting ready. Yeah. We've stayed at multiple hotels near Disneyland, and usually the bathrooms are like really, really tiny, really, really cramped. And this was a nice size. Also has a nice big TV for a kid to watch as we got ready. Yeah. And so that kept them entertained as well.
Yeah. And they also had some amenities in the room, which were helpful. We used the steamer for some of our clothing, our Club 33 clothing. Yeah. And then they had like this electric teapot type thing, tea kettle that was kind of in the little like kitchenette spot. So that was really nice. I think they had a hair dryer in the bathroom.
They had a mini fridge that held all of our kids' pouches.
Yeah.
All of those
apple
little
juice.
squish pouches. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, the mini fridge was helpful for sure.
If you don't want to keep food up there, they actually had like, this is cool. We didn't use it, but there's a robot room service thing. So you can like call down, order food, and there's this literal robot that like goes through the hotel.
Literally
put the food in the elevator, and then it goes in the elevator, goes up to your room. I don't know if it doesn't knock, but it does something, I'm sure. And delivers your food, which is awesome. But speaking of food, when we first got down there, it was so great. We went to the pool bar after a long drive. We needed like a little beer and wine. Yeah. We went down by the pool. The pool is super gorgeous. We felt it. We didn't actually jump in, but we felt it. It felt great. At the pool bar, or at the pool, there were tons of games. They had like Jenga, cornhole, ping pong, Connect 4, like giant Connect 4. And then they had fire pits. So we sat out by the fire pits, ordered some food. And so what it's like at night, because they actually have a restaurant for breakfast in the morning, which is really great food. But at night, and I think lunchtime too, there's like a little app that you do. And there's I don't know what they're called, like satellite food restaurant service, kind of thing, like right across the street, that I think a couple other hotels use. So different types of cuisine, and then they just bring it to wherever you're at. So we were at the pool bar. He brought it right to the pool. Yeah, it was awesome. But then they had, like I said, a pool bar there with a lot of cool looking cocktails and beer and wine and everything. So, and like you said, at distance, it was really not that bad. Even at night, like even after a full day, I was pumping. You were probably a little bit more tired, but I was done
by the evening. But yeah, it was manageable though. I mean, we've stayed in further hotels before, and it was definitely like doable.
Yeah, for sure.
And in the morning, for sure, it was easy walk.
Yeah, and one of the cool things too is we were hosted for a couple of nights, but my parents, they paid for the hotel and everything. And one of the cool things is that the price was really reasonable for like grad night happening around there, like summer starting. I think theirs came out to, I don't know, like 175 a night or something like that, where a lot of the hotels over there are like 250 a night, 300, 350 a night.
Comparable hotels are definitely a lot more, I would say.
And so really good price and just really cute. I love like being in a hotel that has like those cute retro vibes. Like I feel like it almost transported me, like I said, back to like, 50s summertime Beach Boysy kind of vibes.
Totally.
And I loved it. And it was just really great. So I'm so glad we stayed there, and we're gonna have to go back.
Yeah. I definitely would love to stay again next time. It was a great stay for sure.
Yeah. So definitely check it out on your next Disneyland trip. You guys will have a great stay.
Yes, totally.
All right, but let's rewind a little bit. So Thursday we drove down with two boys, about a 6-hour drive. It was decent. It was a little bit of screaming.
As I thought it was going to be, because our little one does not enjoy the car. The older one is past that point. He's like more easily entertained. He was an angel on the drive, actually. I was very proud of him. Little one, some good moments and some not so good moments. Yeah. But we made it.
We made it. There. Yeah. And like
not
you said,
even too late, because we actually had a pretty early start that morning.
Yeah.
We made a couple stops, but I think we got down there by like 4.
Yeah.
Which was nice. Had some time to unwind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like we said too, got some delicious food. I think I had what did I have?
We had a salad and a pizza.
Oh, a salad and a pizza.
We always go that route and split.
Yeah. Right. Because then you kind of feel bad for the pizza, but then you feel a lot better with the salad.
Levels out.
Yeah. And then we just, had some nice wine and just relaxed.
It was so nice.
Right before the big trip.
Honestly, having a hotel that has the option of like eating and drinking there that is like my vibe now. Now that we've done that a time or two.
I don't want to go out to another restaurant. Yeah. I just want to stay like, here by the room.
If you can be there and have those nice vibes, sit outside, enjoy the, lovely Anaheim evening and just enjoy your food, like that's the way to do it. And
totally.
Then just chill in your hotel room, get some rest for the next day.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. It was great.
It was.
So moving into our first official day in the park.
Yeah.
Friday. It was a fairly early morning. Maybe it was around 9 or 9:30. It wasn't too far off, but as early as we could get out. So we had Chris's family with us this day. His parents and his sister joined us, which was so fun. It's always extra fun to have family along and just get to enjoy it all together, especially with the kiddos.
Yeah, especially when they watch the kids and we get to ride things together.
Yes, which we'll talk about more soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, Friday was such a good day. It was so fun. The crowds were so minimal. Mm-hmm. We got so much done. The weather was perfect.
The whole weekend, it was great. It got a little bit hotter, but it was like 75. But Friday, it was like cloudy, like just that light cloud overcast most of the day. And it was the best.
It was great. Yes, that is ideal Disneyland weather for me.
Yeah.
Like the sun came out for a bit. It got like a little warmer. But overall, it was like when you're walking around all day, like I don't mind a little bit of clouds and like coolness because you're going to get hot and toasty.
Definitely.
So yeah, the weather was great. That was one of the highlights, I think. Yeah. So we started our day out on Pirates, I think, because that was what our son had been asking to do for the whole time leading up to the trip. So that was our first stop, which was so fun to get to go on with him again. It had been a while. He had been on it a while ago, like a couple years ago. But the last time we were there, I think it was down for refurb or something. Yeah. So it was great to go on it again with him.
And our little one did not scream during it. So that was great. We always had to make sure we had like snacks or something. So if we started getting crazy, just start, feeding him a little bit here and there. And
food always helps. Always helps. So we got to do that, which was so fun. We got to check out the new Adventureland treehouse for the first time, which I was very impressed with.
I know, same here. I had seen videos of it before and I was like, okay, like it looks cool and everything, but when you're actually there, it's so much more massive than you would think.
Expansive and like really detailed.
Cool views of the park. Yeah, I loved it.
It was pretty beautiful. I mean, I hadn't been on the Tarzan one in so long. So
it was like closed for what, 2 years or something.
Closed forever. Yeah. And before that, I hadn't been on it in a long time either. But I was like sad that it closed, but now seeing how they did it now, it's pretty
really
impressive.
beautiful.
I
Yeah.
actually really loved it. So I'm glad that we finally got to check it out after all this time.
For sure.
We also were in Galaxy's Edge not too long after that, which our son is obsessed with Star Wars stuff right now. He's like way into it. And one of the rides that he is actually tall enough to do was Smuggler's Run.
I don't know how he could do that and not do Star Tours because they're kind of the same, but also not do Radiator Springs Racers.
Yes. If any of you listening know the answer to this, please message me and let me know why that ride is okay. Smuggler's Run
is crazy.
And not Radiator Springs Racers, because Smuggler's Run is way more intense.
Especially when you have a kid piloting. He was the pilot.
He was piloting.
Thankfully, we didn't have anyone else in our ship because I didn't want them to get mad at how bad my kid was piloting the ship.
Yeah, his head was down the whole time.
He was literally not
out.
looking for most of it. So I was dual wielding, you know, trying to do both levers, but
it was chaotic.
Fun nonetheless. She had never been on it because
it was my first time.
There was like pregnancy, then kids, and
just never had the opportunity. So got to do it. It was fun. It was just crazy. Yeah, having a 3-year-old pilot the ship, but
it does really kind of. It's jarring. It makes you a little sick.
Definitely jarring, but it was fun.
Yeah, and then we obviously had to get the cold brew black calf.
Of course.
And that was my sister's first time ever having it, so she fell in love with that.
She's obsessed now.
It is so amazing. We met Mando and Bobo while we were there, which our son was just going crazy
Those are his
for.
favorites. He's obsessed with anything Mandalorian, so that was very exciting for him.
It was awesome. But some other highlights of the day, we got to ride Indiana Jones Mission Breakout and Soarin' together, which we had not done in so long because I think the last trip we went, it was just us. So we literally didn't get to do any big kid rides together.
Yeah.
The years before that, it just didn't really work out. So being able to do those ones together, it just felt like an old trip
like the
again.
Old days,
where we would just run around the park and just get on as many things as possible. It was so awesome.
It was so fun. I'm so glad that we got to do at least a couple together.
Yeah.
It was perfect. Those are some that I hadn't even done. I don't think I did Mission Breakout or Soarin'.
Yeah, because you were.
Or
I think
Indy.
last year you might have done Soarin'.
Maybe I
you're
did
pregnant.
Soarin'. That's
you didn't
true.
do Mission or Indy because of the pregnancy.
That's true. Yeah, so it had been a while since I had been on most of those, and to get to do them together was so fun.
It was great.
I'm so glad we got to. But in addition to those, we had our kind of like midday break, as we always do, in Animation Academy, one of our favorite places to just go chill out when we need a little break. And we did Turtle Talk with Crush for the first time in years and years, because our son is just at such a fun age for that. Loved it so much. He did, and we did. Like,
it's so hysterical. I forgot how great it is. Our voice actor was just perfect.
It was so funny.
Yeah, we sat on the little floor there and just had a great time. Our kid almost asked a question,
but it wasn't a question.
He raised his hand, and I was like, I should probably screen this question before he asks Crush. And so I asked him, I was like, oh, do you have a question? And he said, yeah, I have too many toys. And I was like, that's not like necessarily a question. It would have been funny to see Crush respond to that.
I would have loved to see his reaction.
Yeah. But that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I was like, that's the one thing on your mind that you wanted to tell Crush. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, dude, I have more toys than you have kids. Okay, like
literally,
that's crazy. But yeah, funny. That day was so amazing. I forgot what we did for like dinner and stuff.
I
we did
think
Corn
it was
Dog
pretty
Castle
mellow.
for lunch, and then
we went to Red Rose Tavern.
Oh, Red Rose Tavern. Mm-hmm.
And they have a great menu right now. I think they switch things out a lot.
Yeah.
Because they had something new that I had this time that was delicious. It was like a
chicken
cordon bleu sandwich.
Yeah.
Which definitely didn't used to be there. I think they had some different type of sandwich, kind of something more basic, which was also good. But that one was delicious. And I think that it was just like a bigger menu. I think they've just added to it. And I love it.
I had a really good burger. There was like a flatbread. So, I love it.
It was all of your family's first time going there. And I think they all really liked their stuff as well.
It was so good. Anyways, we went to sleep on Friday night and woke up to something terrible. However, it got so much better. So we woke up and we got ready and we
We knew that we had to get.
We didn't even talk about what happened that.
So we had to get into the park early that day by about 8:45 for a VIP tour.
Yeah,
that we were able to do.
Not with our own money.
No.
We should preface this real quick. So the Club 33 member who we met and we've, hung out with him multiple times. Great guy, great family, just so generous to think of us to, go and experience some amazing things that we never thought we would ever get to do. He also treated us to a VIP tour. So literally Saturday and Sunday were just new experiences and we just had the most amazing time. Yeah. So 8:45, continue the saga. The nightmare of a morning.
Yeah. Okay. So we got out the door at a decent time. I was actually like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to get all of ourselves together and out by like 8:15. So we got out there at a good time. We're like, we're going to be there on time. We have to be ready at this VIP tour before 9 a.m. So got out there, sped walk the entire way, like so fast with our stroller to the longest security line I have ever seen in my life.
It was crazy.
It was absurd.
And our friend who was doing the tour and everything,
he was like, hey, when we were
it's going to take about 20 minutes or longer. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to be 20 minutes and we'll still get in there. Took
an hour
to get through. I do it.
Maybe over an hour.
It is my fault. Emily wanted to get in a left line. And I was like, well, the center one's a little bit shorter, so let's stay here. That was a terrible idea.
Yeah. Very shortly after we saw both the left and the right moving a little bit quicker than us. We did not move for like minutes at a time. Like we were just stuck. I don't know how it possibly could have taken so long. Maybe it was the time that we got there. Maybe that was just when literally everyone was getting into the park. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it took forever. We were like, are we going to be able to do this tour? Like, are they going to not wait for us?
I was texting our guy. I was like, do you guys just, if we don't make it there in time, are you guys just going to leave us in the dust?
but they did not.
They waited.
They waited very kindly for us to get in there. And it was after 9 a.m. when our tour was supposed to start, but we made it. We also met some of the sweetest ladies in the world.
They were amazing.
While getting towards the end of the line, I won't go too far into it, but it totally like made the last bit of the line manageable because we just had the best, sweetest conversation with them.
We did give them a business card with our podcast. So ladies, if you're listening right now,
you know who you are.
You're very sweet. So thank you for making that horrible line worth it.
Much better. Yes.
But bad stuff out of the way. Now let's get to some crazy, amazing stuff. We walked through the gate. We got to our VIP tour. We were like, what is it? What is this going to be like? Our tour guide was absolutely amazing. He asked us, what we kind of wanted to do. We had the kids, so we're like, we would love to hit Fantasyland. And plus, you guys know Peter Pan is always the worst line ever. So we usually skip that. But we went to Fantasyland first, got pretty much all of Fantasyland done.
Because we didn't do any of that on Friday. I don't think we even went into Fantasyland that whole time. So Saturday, we were like, let's see if we can do some Fantasyland stuff.
Yeah, we knocked out Peter Pan, Snow White, everything. Pinocchio, Casey Jr. Train,
Alice,
the carousel, which
Dumbo,
Chance, our son, got to ride on Jingles, Walt's favorite horse there, and the VIP tour guide, we got in first and got that opportunity, which was amazing.
Yep.
I think Small World, Mickey and Minnie's, everything.
Yes, literally everything. The only one that we didn't do was Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad's, yeah.
But oh my gosh. It's okay. We did literally everything else in a matter of maybe an hour.
Yeah. That was
all
amazing.
Of Fantasyland was done. Unbelievable experience. It's like going to be hard to go back and wait in those lines now, having been through it in such a seamless, quick way now. It's like, some of those lines can be intimidating when you don't have the accessibility of a tour. But
it was great. There were some parts after the Fantasyland where there was rides that older kids could, I keep calling us kids, older people, big kid rides, could go on. And so, we kind of split off a little bit there. Some people stayed out with the kids and he just kind of like scanned us into the rides and everything. So I usually skip Rise of the Resistance because of that line, but I was able to go on that time, and it was great.
Yeah.
But him as a person, it was so cool, like just chatting Disney and like kind of nerding out with someone who's taking you on
He was
rides.
so great.
He was so nice.
I chatted with him for a while as well. While you were on Rise, he sat out with me and the kids and we were just chatting. It was great.
I love that.
He's such a nice guy. So around mid-afternoon or so, we had to hop over to California Adventure for 1901.
And if you don't know what that is, that's like California Adventures Club 33. To preface this, you know, the rules are a little bit iffy on what you can and cannot talk about. So out of respect for the member, we're not going to talk about details. We're going to just kind of briefly talk about
kind of
what it was like to actually experience that. That was crazy to be in there.
Quite
it was really cool.
Yeah. So it was, at this time in the day, we had both of our boys sleeping in the stroller simultaneously.
Yeah.
Which I was a little nervous about, but we had already planned to bring them with us to 1901. And we had planned to not bring them to Club 33. That is what his parents were going to be helping
stress
with.
out at Club 33.
And that is exactly what would have happened, because 1901, it turned into a bit of craziness when our 3-year-old woke up. He was just very like disoriented and out of it and kind of throwing a fit. So I was focused on him a good amount of that time, but it was still just an awesome experience getting to be there. Everyone was so kind.
The food, the drinks. Yeah.
Yes. Everyone that worked there was just very sympathetic for what I was dealing with our son, because I kept having to go in and out of the restaurant to help him just cool down a bit. But everyone was just very kind and understanding. And that part was a very good experience.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm getting hungry just thinking about what I ate there. That was amazing, except for a little tiny tantrum.
Yeah.
And
our younger son was great. He was hanging out.
Chilling,
he was chilling and eating some of our food. Little do these boys know, like where they were, what was happening. I was talking to my son while we were outside, and I was like, "You are in a very special place right now. I need you to calm down, please." So
I literally, when he was doing that, I was like, "And that's why you don't get to experience Club 33 tomorrow." But he kind of did. We'll talk about that.
Yes,
but
true.
After 1901, which was just awesome, we had a. Well, I think there might have been a couple of other things around that time, but soon after that, we had a VIP viewing of Better Together, which was their Pixar parade, which was really awesome. It was just so fun. Right there in the front
and center.
Yeah, and that was awesome, seeing all the characters. Pixar is such a big part of Disney now, and especially for kids growing up. I mean, even for us when we were growing up. So I hope they bring back Pixar Fest every year.
I hope so too.
There's some really cool things about that. Like even in Disneyland, there was the Fantasyland Theater that had a whole Pixar section with characters rotating in and out.
Yeah.
A lot of cool food and everything. But yeah, the parade was great. And then right after that, we did even more Pixar because we went to Lamplight Lounge. Had a delicious meal. If you have not been to Lamplight Lounge, you got to go. It's our favorite restaurant that anyone could go to. Does it beat Club 33 experience? But no, like out of places that you can go to, Lamplight Lounge is so good. I had a delicious al pastor pork chop.
Yep. Same thing you have gotten, I think, the past 2 times. And I got the same thing I have gotten the past 2 times because it is still my favorite.
Yeah.
Salmon PLT. So good. So good.
Yeah.
And our son always gets the mac and cheese.
Yeah.
It's always a winner for him.
Always good.
And yeah, I think we just got some beers.
Yeah.
Some nice refreshing beer with our meal. And then that day,
right around that time, because that was at 7:30. And we told our contact, it's like a mission.
Secret.
We're like, we have to get back to the hotel because these boys are going to be crazy. But he was like, wait, there's VIP viewing for, what's it called? Oh, Together Forever, the Pixar Nighttime Spectacular. And we were like, okay, it's not every day we could do this. And so that didn't start till 9:30.
But our
boys were amazing.
Yeah, they did incredible. And that was because our little baby, our 8-month-old, had literally napped until like 7:30 p.m. And then he woke up while we were at Lamplight Lounge. And I was like, okay, well, he just slept for a while, so I guess he doesn't need to go to bed like right now. He can last a bit. So we stuck it out.
I'm so glad that
we did.
This person told us to
made us stay. Yeah.
I feel like at Disneyland, you just bend the rules anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like bedtime could be pushed out. And so we did. We went over to Disneyland right after that. Right.
Awesome.
Pretty
viewing.
much. Yeah. Right in front of the partner statue. So amazing viewing.
Yeah.
The projections, the fireworks. It was great. And our boys were like chilled during it too. Yeah. So that was great.
Had some hot chocolate. I think our friend that had brought us was just like, hey, we have an extra one. And I was like, oh yeah, it's the perfect way to enjoy some fireworks with some hot chocolate. Yeah. So it was so nice. So
what you guys are probably all here for Sunday.
Yeah.
So we went to sleep really late that night. Boys slept great again. I was like, man, the Disney magic is just, it's like the fairies,
on into the hotel.
Meriwether, Flora, and Fauna. They just like sprinkled a little extra Sleeping Beauty sleep stuff on our boys. Yeah. And they just did amazing. It was really weird. We were like, what is
And then we were all up early, which we needed to do anyways. So it was like just up early, got ourselves ready. Although we decided,
strange how perfect it went.
Everything went better than I imagined it would for sure. So the plan for Sunday, which we already kind of knew, was that we were going to semi take it easy in the morning and not like try to rush into the park, because our reservation for Club 33 was at about 11 a.m. when it opened. And so we were like, okay, let's just like kind of take a chill morning to get ourselves ready and like relax a bit, rather than trying to like get ourselves ready and get into the park early and get stuff done. We kind of wanted to just have a chill time, because we knew that we were going to spend some more time in the park after the Club 33 experience. So we kind of took it easy. We had some help from his parents while we got ourselves ready in the morning. Got out the doors still semi early, because we did not know how the security line was going to be. After what had happened Saturday, we're like, let's go like at least, I think we gave ourselves like an hour and a half or more. To deal with that if need be. But got over there. There was no one in line. It was like, it was the shortest line ever. So we're like, okay, well, we just had a rough time Saturday. Yeah. But yeah, we got through security.
It was funny being dressed up. Yeah. Even Club 33, it isn't like you could go in like jeans and stuff, but we were like, you know what? We're going for our first time. We're going to dress up. And so we walked into the park. We were like, I don't want to change in like the New Orleans Square bathroom. Yeah. Like I always hate when you have to be like socks on the floor in order to
I try to like and stuff. Step out of
on the shoes.
Step on the shoes. Yeah. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
So it's like, I don't want to go through that mess right before Club 33. So we walked into the park. Felt all like dapper day. Yeah. And so we got in, we did the tiki room.
Yeah. We had a little bit of time to kill. So it was like, okay, well, that's something that's not going to like, jar us around, like mess up our snazzy selves. So we did some tiki room. You got a Dole.
I got a Dole Whip float, which was awesome. I didn't spill on what I was wearing, so that was a huge plus.
Very good job.
I usually spill all the time, so that was really cool. But then after that, we were like, okay, let's just, because by this time we were like, I don't know about you, but I was getting really like,
a little antsy. We just wanted to like
happen. We wanted to get there.
Yeah.
Especially with the day before, we're like, let's. What if it takes a half hour to walk from Adventureland to New Orleans Square? But we started walking, and then we heard a Chris or Happiest Hour on Earth or something like that. And I think it jarred us because we're like all dressed up, and someone's calling our name, and I'm like, what? And it was Josh from At the Park Hop Dad, formerly All Day All Disney. But we got to chat and talk for a little bit. It was kind of quick because we had to be over there, and we were stressed because the day before we missed it, so we had to be over there in a few minutes. So it was really quick, but we got to meet him and his family, and they were just so awesome. So check out his page At the Park Hop Dad, and he also does like travel agent stuff. So if you need any services, go check that out. Yeah, but that was awesome. We love running into people at the park.
Yeah, we were both so excited. It was like, what? Someone recognized us? Yeah. Okay. Like it was.
But it was like caught us off guard because of what we're wearing.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like weird wearing that to Disneyland anyway. And then someone calls us and I'm like, there's a reason we're dressed like this.
Yeah.
Like, we don't go to the park usually dressed like this.
Don't worry, we're not weird.
Yeah, we're not weirdos. Okay, we're going to a club.
We always are
at
comfy
Disneyland.
at Disneyland. This is just the one and only time we
Yeah.
walked in dressed up.
Which after the club, I went super comfy. And I was
Yeah,
just
me
wearing,
too.
like,
I for
workout
sure
shorts.
switched. Yeah, we switched clothes very shortly after.
Yeah, and then so from Adventureland, walking to New Orleans Square, walking the streets of New Orleans Square, which is one of my favorite things ever. I love the architecture and the Imagineering behind that whole land. But then being like, okay, we see the old Club 33 door. We walk a little bit more and we see the new one. And
It's like, all right,
it was
we're
so
actually walking
weird.
through that door in a few minutes.
Yeah. And then we met our friend up there. And then we handed, like we said, we did not want our kids to go in and ruin our fun. So, and I was kidding. We didn't want it to kill our vibe, you know, with Scream.
We
So
just didn't want
we
any
handed
tantrums.
them off to my parents.
Like,
The
have
door
fun.
opened. And like we said, we don't want to talk about anything in detail, just out of respect for our friend. And, but yeah, we walked through. You guys probably already know. You'll see a picture. You know, you get to where that staircase is. You guys probably have seen the staircase in the Court of Angels. This actually used to live outside of Club 33. In the past, we had a few minutes to soak up everything outside, and it was just like
It was very surreal. It felt like a dream for sure.
Yeah.
Walking through those doors and just getting to like actually see people on the other side of the door and be like, we're
because
actually
usually the
walking
door
through.
opens and shuts, and you always try
So
to get
fast.
a glance. And
Yeah.
everyone at the front, like the cast members, were just the nicest
They
people
were
ever.
so kind.
But yeah, it was so cool that we got a little time to soak up everything. And I don't know what else to say besides that. It's just it's been a dream of ours for so long.
Yeah.
Just knowing that it would probably never happen, and then finally being there was like, wow, I can't even believe it. So
it was definitely a dream come true getting to walk through there.
yeah,
And then-
huge shout out to our friend and his family for taking us. I mean, that really,
Yeah.
I think it's every Disney person's dream to go in there. And so to be given that opportunity
Yeah.
on top of the VIP tour and 1901 was amazing. But
Yeah, we got the works. I mean, honestly, the fact that we got to do all of those things within one trip still boggles my mind to think about.
I think it will boggle my mind for a while. Like
Yeah.
even seeing photos, I'm like, I can't even believe we're there.
That happened?
Yeah, so weird. But then we got up, we ate really good food,
Had
really
some
nice
great
drinks. Like I said, we're not going to say too much. However, we can say that we did actually bring in our older son later. So at a certain time, they will bring characters into the club. And so our friend suggested this, and huge, great suggestion too, is like, he could be outside with the grandparents for a little bit, but right at this time, you could bring him up. And I kind of felt bad, like, oh man, we're not letting our kids into this one opportunity, but we were going to bring both of them up. But then our littlest one started like kind of fussing.
No, he was
and
sleeping.
Oh, he was sleeping. So we're like, okay, let's not wake him. So we got to bring in our first son in, and it was cute just
got
seeing
some
him
very
all
cute
happy.
pictures
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah. We met Donald. We
we
could say
did
that.
meet Donald,
It's
yeah.
Donald's birthday soon in a few weeks. So
Yeah, I
he
think
gotta
it's
go up.
normally Mickey and Minnie that are there. So that's what we had thought was happening. But then they were like, oh, it might be something else.
Yeah.
And it was Donald, because his birthday is coming up soon. So I think they've been having him instead.
Yeah. And that
So
was
it was-
perfect. He came in,
It was so
met them,
cute.
and then we kicked him back out so we could finish our
Like,
meal.
all right, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Have fun. I always tell him, like, it's probably going to be boring
gonna be a
just sitting at a
boring
restaurant.
lunch.
So, like, just go play in Disneyland.
Yeah.
And then, like, in our minds, we're like just
Internally,
soaking up
like-
everything. And it was a perfect time of just sitting down, soaking up everything,
Getting to just relax. Yeah.
chatting, and just having a good time. So, yeah.
Unbelievable experience. Very
Unbelievable.
surreal. Dream come true.
Yeah. Can't say much more. Other
All
than
the words that I
but
can think to explain it without going into more detail. But thank you once again to our friend who I'm thinking will probably hear this episode at some point. You made the magic come true.
Yeah. And that's like a really cool way to look at that. I mean, that was literally a sprinkling of magic on
Real
our
pixie
trip and
dust.
on our family. It meant so much.
It did.
I'm still reeling from all this, like that
I
we
know.
got to do it. But
yeah, getting to hash it all out again has been fun because it's just been kind of a daze ever since we got home. It's like, all right, back into real life.
That was the day before we drove back too. So it was like one of those things, like ending on such a high note and then coming back and then work the next day. So it was like super high and then just
back
work.
to reality for you.
Two very different days side by side. But yes, so amazing. So thankful. Really never thought that would be a possibility. You made our dreams come true. So huge shout out to you. That was awesome.
So thankful for you.
A shirt that was given to me from him, which is a Walt Disney Animation Studio shirt.
Such a cool
He
tee.
does not work there, but the shirt. So that was really cool to have. But after that, after we're like trying to just
act normal,
we like walked out the door and we're like, I can't believe it. But then we changed into regular clothes. They had left. And then so we met back up with my family. Mm-hmm. We got to take our son.
Okay.
I'm so used to like talking to people at work and saying bye. But we got to take our son on his first roller coaster, Gadgets Go Coaster.
So
he was fearless this entire trip.
He was.
Man, he
did everything. Yeah. It was like
awesome.
Like during some of the things, I think it hit him that it was like more intense than he had expected. But like leading up to it, he had no fear because
after he was like so chill.
Yeah, he was totally fine. He was like, all he said was that he didn't like when it went like on its side because he thought he was gonna like fall into the water.
Yeah,
but yeah, he was so fearless. It was really cute to just see his reaction on a roller coaster.
It made me so much more comfortable about like when he hits that 40 inches, which if you guys know, 40 inches is everything opens height. Up pretty much. So hopefully for the next trip, he'll be a little bit taller. And
I think
that'd be awesome.
By the next time we go, he's going to be at 40 inches because he's pretty close now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Just got to go a little bit more. He can go on anything.
I know. And then when we were in Toontown, we got to meet Mickey in his house, which was just awesome. Always love that experience.
Yes. So intimate and so fun. Yeah. And I love the fact that at the end of walking through his house, there's like cartoons playing, which kind of like keep everybody occupied, kind of gives you a little break as you wait to meet the mouse. So that was a fun, special little experience.
Yeah. And then you know what? I forgot about this. After Club 33, a few hours after that, before Toontown, we went back to Lamplight Lounge. So we had 2 Lamplight Lounge experiences.
True.
And that time we were like sitting right on the water. I did not get the pork chop that time because I had just had it, but I had this chicken dish. Lamplight Lounge is seriously so
everything
amazing.
is so good. Everything is so
incredible.
good. I got the lobster nachos.
Yeah.
So good as well. I've had them before, but it's been a while and they hit.
So good. And then we ended our last trip. If you guys have heard our past trip reports, we always love to end on Mark Twain. We did something a little bit different this time. Mm-hmm. We didn't want the magic to end, so we just kept extending. We thought we were going to end Mark Twain. Yeah, we kept thinking
we were about to leave, and then our son was like, I want to do this, and it was like, okay, if you want to do that, like we're going to make it happen. Because we just did not want to leave, even though our little one was starting to get pretty tired and cranky. We were like, let's just keep him occupied and we'll just make it happen. And then eventually he just fell asleep in the stroller and he was just tapped out. So we were like, okay, if he's going to be asleep, then we're going to do a few more special things.
Yeah. So we did the Mark Twain Riverboat, which is one of our favorite ways to end a trip. After that, our son was like, I want to go on Pirates again. So we're like, it's only 5 minutes. Let's go on Pirates. Got to do that. And then as we were headed out, we were at the gates. And you know when you like get down Main Street and then you like turn back to look one more time and you're just like, this is going to be like the last time. Well, we got even further than that. We were about to go to the gates. And then we realized we kept talking about to our son that we were going to go on the railroad.
Yes, leading up to the trip, because our last trip, we had waited and waited to ride the train. And then it took so long and we almost made it on and then it like cut off. We were we would have been the next in line, but we would have had to wait another like 20 minutes or more. And we were just like, okay, like that's a long time to wait. And we ended up just doing monorail instead. But since that trip, it was like, okay, when we go to Disneyland next, we're going on the train. And then it just somehow kept getting pushed out on this trip until this moment when we were literally about to leave the park.
The fireworks were like starting. It was like 9:30.
Yeah, it was late, but we were like, oh my gosh, can we manage to do one more thing as the last ride of the trip? And so while his parents stayed with our little guy who was asleep, we got to have just a mommy, daddy, and Chance ride on Disneyland
and it was
Railroad.
so sweet. We were just like
so special.
soaking up the memories, just like with our first son, talking about growing up and staying young and all this stuff. And it was such
precious.
A sweet way to end the trip.
It really was. We soaked it up. It was such a special time. And I'm just so glad that we made that train ride happen, because we almost didn't. We were this close to walking out the gates. And then my heart just sunk. And I was like, I promised him so many times that we were going to do it. And so we were like, let's just make it happen. And I'm so glad that we did.
It was so awesome. So perfect way to end an incredible trip.
Quite an incredible trip.
3 things that we never thought we would do.
Yeah.
On top of really sweet family moments. And so that was great. But then just like overall, I mean, we don't have to get into this too much. First time with 2 was definitely interesting. It wasn't as bad as we thought. I don't want to make the episode too long, but I think taking 1 is definitely, like, for the first time is harder than 2, I would say. And we have an episode on that. So if you want like tips for taking a baby or toddler to the parks, you can find that episode and kind of hear our tips and tricks for that, that I think carry over to when you have 2. Another thing we wanted to point out too is this whole idea of posting all the best moments. Of course, we're going to do that. Like, we are a podcast. Oh, everyone's always going to post, their best photos and all this stuff. So we just wanted to like remind people, don't worry if a trip isn't perfect. We had tons of moments during this trip where even on the VIP tour, we had to split away for a little bit because our, son needed something else to eat while they were all doing some other things. So we split away from a little bit, and it was just got a little chaotic and kind of, we weren't like where we wanted to be. There's going to be times where there's, ups and downs of a trip. And so remember that nothing is perfect. There's always tough times. There's always times that you didn't get to do everything you wanted. There's a lot of things that we didn't get to do this trip. We didn't do space. We didn't do Big Thunder. So super sad about that. But honestly, you just got to take those highs and cherish those and not let those things, the screaming kids, the whatever else could happen on a trip, like get you down. Crowds. Because no trip is perfect. So don't look at other crowds at other people and be like, I want my trip to be like that. It's
because when you see things on social media, you're obviously just seeing the highlight reel. You're not seeing all the other stuff that's going on behind the scenes, and
everything always happens wrong behind the scenes.
Exactly. Nobody's trip is going to be 100% perfect, and ours definitely was not, but there were a lot of great moments, those are going to be the ones that we remember, not the tougher ones.
It was definitely a trip to be remembered
for sure.
So awesome. But on that, if you have any questions, obviously we can't talk too much about the club, but if, let's say you have some questions about taking kids to the park or anything else like that, or about a Hotel Lulu where we stayed, which shout out to them again for hosting us. We loved that stay. We loved that. Experience. It was amazing. Definitely hit us up below in the comments or on Instagram. We would love to talk to you about all of that. It felt so nice to get another Disneyland trip in the books. It had been about a year because Emily was pregnant and then we had a newborn. And so it was so nice to be back.
It was great.
And have another trip report episode, but super, super exciting. Shout out again to our friend. That was just the best experience ever.
Thank you.
Couldn't be more thankful for that. And hopefully we can hang out soon. That'd be awesome. But with that, I think that's pretty much it.
I think that is it. Thank you guys for listening. Hit us up with any comments or questions or whatever you might want to chat about. We're here. So send us a message and we will chat with you then.
Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Bye.